In this video, I want to talk about why CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens could form the best wide receiving duo in the entire NFL in 2025. Because the second I saw the trade go through that sent George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, I started putting the pieces together in my head just about how dominant this duo and this offense can be now that they have both of these guys that complement each other so well. And when I say that this duo could be the best wide receiver tandem in the entire NFL, I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not saying that as something that I can just take back in a few weeks or even months. I just don't know how opposing secondaries are going to be able to zero in and guard these guys, especially when you consider what the Cowboys have behind these guys as well. I know the past few years for this team have not been the greatest, it's been forgettable, but I think 2025 is a new year. The Cowboys did a lot over the offseason to kind of shore up some of the holes. I think they are going to be much better, more refined. Obviously, they have a new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. I'm excited for what this Cowboys team can do in 2025, and I want to talk all about it. But before I do get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so right now is kind of the dead point in the offseason. Obviously, mini camps, rookie mini camps, mandatory, all of that stuff is done, and there's like a 5-week span where all the players are on summer vacation before training camp officially starts, so there's not too much headlines to talk about. So I just want to talk about the Cowboys as a whole and how I feel about them heading into this upcoming year. Let's start with CeeDee Lamb, because obviously he's already arrived. He's one of the superstars in this league. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's not a guy that you're projecting anymore. He's a guy that's producing. In 2024, even with some instability at quarterback, obviously Dak Prescott was injured and it was Cooper Rush and a few other guys kind of taking command back there. And then on top of that, there was a very lackluster run game. The offense struggled to move the ball down the field, but Lamb still somehow found a way to put up 101 catches for nearly 1,200 yards. He finished top 10 in both receptions and receiving yards, but numbers don't tell the whole story here, because this was a receiver who was the focal point of every defense's game plan, and on an offense that couldn't move the ball, it's impossible to do what he did. I don't think there were many receivers in the league that could have put up those numbers in that situation. Teams were doubling him, throwing bracket coverage his way, and doing whatever they could to slow him down, and still, he kept showing up. And that tells you everything you need to know. The route running has hit another level, his awareness in zone, the timing with Dak when he is on the field, the ability to manipulate leverage, all of it has sharpened. He is one of those receivers who just finds space and finds a way. And now, like I said with George Pickens, I'm going to get into this in a minute, but now that teams can't double team him, I can only imagine what's going to happen. George Pickens obviously is a guy who kind of made a name for himself ever since he got drafted, where he made one of the biggest memes of the season with him standing there in the ski mask in front of the TV. He is such a tough player, and man, let me tell you, he's got juice as well. Dallas gave up a third and a future fifth to get him from Pittsburgh, and some people question that price tag given the off-field chatter, but here's the reality. That was all made up chatter by the Steelers media. I'm not saying that George Pickens is perfect. I'm not saying he didn't cause any problems in the Steelers locker room, but everything was just kind of overanalyzed. I don't think it was as bad as it seemed, and Pickens kind of confirmed that himself as well as his teammates. Like, I'm not saying he was perfect, obviously, and I don't think Mike Tomlin really liked him, but I don't think that a third and a fifth is too risky to get a player like George Pickens, given the pure talent. And ever since he's arrived in Dallas, he hasn't really done anything wrong. He's been perfect in the interviews. He's been perfect in the mini camps. He just came, showed up to work, and he's ready to get better and help this team improve. George Pickens is 6'3", he runs like a gazelle, and has some of the best body control in the league. Obviously, you think back to that one catch he had against the Browns where he kind of reached back with one arm, very similar to the Odell catch. I think it's never going to get credit for being better, but he was blanketed in that one. That was an absolutely tough catch, nearly impossible. I'm not sure how he did it. He averaged over 15 yards per catch last year, and again, that's super impressive on a Pittsburgh offense that wasn't the best themselves. They also struggled to move down the field. They got very stagnant at times. What he's really needed is consistency as quarterback, similar to CeeDee Lamb, and also just a fresh start. And now that he's got that, Dak Prescott can deliver the ball in rhythm. He's got a structured offense under Schottenheimer, and he's no longer stuck in a system that didn't utilize his strengths. And stylistically, the fit with Lamb is what really puts this duo over the top. Lamb thrives underneath and in intermediate zones. He can win from the slot, motion across formations, and feast on option routes. And then Pickens is obviously a vertical guy. He stretches the field. He's going to force the safety to stay deep, as well as even linebackers at times. He puts corners in a bind. It's the kind of duo that makes you adjust your entire defensive philosophy. And for Dak Prescott, this is so ideal. He's always been at his best when he can make quick decisions off leverage reads. With Lamb and Pickens both on the field together, you're going to get one-on-one matchups, maybe more than ever before. So yeah, I think this entire Dallas offense kind of depends on George Pickens because he is the biggest X factor here. I think he's the guy that can make this offense the best in the entire league, or if he causes problems in the locker room and just doesn't show up and isn't consistent, then I think the Cowboys will struggle again to move the ball down the field. But I'm confident, I'm optimistic. I think he is going to be the guy to take this offense over the top. He's got all the physical tools, but the question has always been the mental side. Can he stay locked in? Can he play within structure? And can he handle not being the primary guy every snap? But based on what we've seen from OTAs and minicamp, it seems like he's answering those questions. Reports say he's been dialed in, more engaged in meetings, and he's even been mentoring some of the younger guys, which that's definitely a great sign. And listen, the Cowboys don't need him to be perfect. They just need him to do what he does best, take the top off, win outside, and force defenses to respect his side of the field. Even if he's only getting 4 or 5 targets a game, obviously, I think it's going to be way more than that, but if he's only getting 4 or 5 or even 6, the gravity he brings helps everyone. And we've got to talk about Jaylen Tolbert as well because he's quietly becoming one of the more reliable wide receiver 3s in the league. Last year, he stepped into a bigger role after some injuries and inconsistency elsewhere, and he delivered. He was clutch on third downs. He showed the ability to work the middle of the field a bit, and he blocked his tail off in the run game. And that's what you need from your third guy. And now that he's settled into that role behind Lamb and Pickens, he's going to get the worst corner on the field every week, and that's a matchup the Cowboys can win. The coaching staff has already talked about on multiple occasions how versatile he's become. He can line up at Z, move inside if it's needed, and he understands leverage really well, so don't be surprised if he puts up 600 plus yards and 5 or 6 touchdowns in 2025. And the great thing is that it doesn't even stop there. Devontae Turpin is still hanging around, and while most fans think of him as like a return specialist, he's becoming a bit more than that. Last year, the Cowboys used him pretty creatively in jet sweeps, motion plays, even screens, and he responded. He averaged over 10 yards per carry on designed runs, and even showed some wiggle in the passing game. He's not going to be a high-volume guy, but he adds that layer of unpredictability, and when you have Lamb and Pickens occupying so much attention, that makes Turpin's game even more dangerous. Think of him like a change of pace back, but for the passing game. And then there's Jonathan Mingo, who might be one of the most intriguing depth receivers in the league right now, at least to me. This is a guy who had a rough start in Carolina, but he's got traits. He's big, he's physical, he has strong hands, and he's very explosive after the catch. The Cowboys coaching staff has been raving about his offseason. He's shown better route discipline, more consistent hands, and he's already starting to build some chemistry with the backup quarterbacks in camp, so don't sleep on him making a real run at wide receiver 4, and if he puts it together, you're talking about a 6'2", 220-pound receiver who can work underneath and break tackles. That's obviously super valuable. I guess we also can talk a little bit about Ryan Flournoy as well, a rookie UDFA who's turned some heads. He's got legit 4.4 speed, he tracks the ball well, and has made several highlight grabs in early practices. Is he going to make the 53? I don't know, probably not, but as a practice stash wide receiver with upside, he's absolutely got that classic Cowboys UDFA receiver story written all over him. And then there's Paris Campbell, a veteran flyer who's only 27. Obviously, he went to Ohio State, but he's bounced around the league due to injuries. He's a yards after catch monster when he's healthy. And in this system, he might be able to just carve himself out a role, especially if they want a guy who can work the short game, screen game, and provide insurance for Lamb. But yeah, overall the depth in this receiver room is probably the best it's been in Dallas in years, and that's not an exaggeration at all. The top end talent is obvious, but the mix of youth, experience, and also versatility gives this coaching staff options. And that's important, especially in a league where you're only one hamstring pull away from needing your wide receiver 4 to play 40 snaps. But all of this starts with Dak Prescott. He's the one who's got to bring it all together, and I think he will. I'm very confident in that. Say what you want about his playoff performances, but Dak is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league when he's got time and rhythm. Last season he finished with 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, which is not the best, but obviously he was hurt and it was just a weird year for the Cowboys. I really think he's going to bounce back. I believe in him, and when you give him this kind of arsenal, the ceiling just gets higher and higher. Dak and Lamb already have elite chemistry, and now he's got a vertical threat in Pickens who can win outside the numbers and make contested catches. That opens up the entire playbook, and Pickens is going to be able to bail the Cowboys out of a lot of third and long situations, which is just game changing. So zooming out to this team as a whole, the Cowboys are back in win now mode. They didn't make the splashiest moves, but they made the right ones in my opinion. They've shored up their offensive line depth, especially in the draft. They love drafting guys named Tyler. They added speed at linebacker, and they doubled down in what they believe in, homegrown talent and explosive playmakers. And if this receiver duo lives up to the hype, it could change the complexion of the NFC. But let me know how you guys are feeling about this team in the comments below. I'm very curious. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also hit that post notification bell so you never miss another upload, and until next time, I will see you all later.